So y'all remember Beats? This guy, the guy that got murked by Paragus in the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie? Well, it looks like he is the father of a Dragon Ball fan manga's main character. Right, I know.
Prepare yourself, Dan Saiyan.
So my boy Jordan Lee actually sent me the link to the new chapter of his Dragon Ball fan manga, Dragon Ball Infinity. I know it's been a little while, but Dragon Ball Infinity takes place on a new planet. It is the Beerus race planet, and Taima is a Saiyan that gets sent there. Basically, this chapter explains why, and he is looked on like an outsider to the Beerus people. Eventually they find out that he's got great strength, and he gets trained by a general of the Pharaoh who runs the Beerus people, and at that point in time the Pharaoh decides, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and make you guys fight to the death. And that is where we left off in the last chapter of Dragon Ball Infinity. This story takes place on planet Vegeta, and we cut to Beat, and he's looking at one of the birthing Saiyan pods, and obviously, like I already told you, this is going to be his son. But he decides, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and take my son and put him in one of the Saiyan escape pods, or just normal Saiyan pods. So as he's getting his son prepared, there's somebody else there helping him out. So we don't see this person right now, but it looks like this possibly could be the boy's mother, and he is being warned by her that what King Vegeta would do if he found out. There's been some anomalies being read in the scans. It's not a good time to launch, but Beat is having none of that. So this is where we find out that Beat's motivation for doing this is solely selfish, because he does not want King Vegeta or any other Saiyan to find out that his son has a power level of 0. So he decides to just take the Saiyan pod with his son inside of it, and he is going to launch it. He ends up launching the pod, and then we get a beautifully colored panel, and in this one we kind of see that maybe he has a little bit of sentimental feeling for his son. He tells him goodbye. Maybe the whole thing wasn't selfish. Maybe he was just trying to save his son from a life of being a Saiyan with 0 power level, but it's kind of hard to really justify that, seeing as how earlier he was like, it's embarrassing to have a son with 0 power level. So very, very interesting, brand new perspective on Saiyan culture here. Right after this, Beat ends up going back to work, and this is where we see him in Dragon Ball Super Broly, where Paragus commandeers the ship that he is working on, and the rest is a sad and pathetic history. Taima goes flying through space, and just like the boy's potential mother warned, there are a lot of anomalies, and he gets sucked into a time vortex, and that's how he ends up landing on the Beerus homeworld. Before I go any further, I want to go ahead and give a special shout out to our Patreon supporters, and that goes to Corbin, Akinoy, and Elenius White Star. Thank you for your support. So now we're back to the main story, and this is right after Taima fought Brood, and it looks like Brood actually ended up beating him up, and Taima barely escaped with his life. But the dude, the bird dude from the first chapter, he's here to explain exactly what happened. Brood was taken from the arena, healed, and now he's in charge of the Pharaoh's troops. Apparently right after the match, some shit went down, and a magical barrier has been placed around the River Nile, which is the main river for the Pharaoh, for the Beerus race people. So he's got a lot of bigger fish to fry. Taima really only has one question: what happened to his mother? Remember guys, the wager was whoever lost would lose their most significant loved one. For his master Brood, that was his wife, and for Taima, that was his adoptive mother. But this guy doesn't have the answer for that. Taima gets teleported back to Mirai, which is the bird pharaoh from the first chapter. And Taima finds himself back on the island of the gods, except this time around, Mirai, which is the guardian of the Fountain of Youth, he stopped drinking out of the fountain himself because he wants to destroy it. And that is the reason that he's walking around in a cane, and probably old age is gaining on him. So here is where we get to the plot of Dragon Ball Infinity and how this connects to Dragon Ball Super. Now, the Bird Pharaoh is the brother of the Cat Pharaoh, or the Beerus Race Pharaoh. They're both brothers. And the last time they both drank from the Fountain of Youth together was the day that Taima arrived on the planet. Now, during his building, he and the Bird Pharaoh had the same vision that in the future, descendants from his race would become gods of destruction. And this thought has consumed the Pharaoh, the Cat Pharaoh, for so long that he obsessed about it. And the only time that he realized that he could escape this fate, because he thought that these two gods of destruction were going to dethrone him, was when Taima arrived on the planet. So now Mirai explains that Brood, which is Taima's master, he has unlimited potential inside of him. And the Pharaoh actually knew this. The Pharaoh has been dwindling in strength as time has gone on, as he's drank less and less of the water, the life water that Mirai is protecting. But he knew that Brood was getting stronger, and that Brood's heirs, his sons, would become stronger still. If you guys don't remember, Brood's sons are Beerus and Champa, the future gods of destruction. So Mirai offers to teach Taima brand new abilities from his own people and increase his strength so he can face off against the Pharaoh. He talks about how Taima's abilities as a Saiyan are the reason that the Pharaoh liked him so much. And his mother is still alive, but the Pharaoh is basically keeping her hostage as a bargaining chip if Taima ever does return to face off against him. And that's when Mirai teleports him to the city of Su, which is where the bird people inhabit. Taima ends up finding his long-lost friend, whose father was imprisoned because he supported the bird people against the Pharaoh, so his son was teleported there, and him and Taima have a good time talking about the fact that basically this is Taima's only friend. He had stuck up for him in the first chapter, and then Taima explains and they talk about how he turned Uzaru in the second chapter. So this is his friend. It's time to get to work and learn the abilities from Mirai. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comment section below what you guys think of Dragon Ball Infinity. This is going to be Blackscape signing off. Take care, guys.